Greetings, curious mind, in the radiant embrace of the one infinite creator. And welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be back.
Today, we're diving into something truly special, a session one of you actually brought to us. Session 41 of the Law of One.
That's right. And it's not just a recap. We're planning to, well, really explore it question by question.
Exactly. Think of it like we're on this journey together, unpacking the layers of wisdom in each exchange. It's quite a session.
It really is. It covers so much ground, doesn't it? From like practical stuff about doing the work all the way to the nature of creation itself.
Yeah, the listener questions really guided this one. We touch on things like moving house and contact, the sun. Ra calls it a sublogos.
The guiding intelligence for our system. And then how densities form, energy centers, even how a social memory complex develops. It's packed.
It really is. So let's jump right in. The first question in session 41, it was quite grounded, actually, very practical.
It was. It started with the questioner thinking about moving like over 1,000 miles
Yeah.
and wondering, how that would affect the contact with Ra.
Which makes total sense. When you're invested in this kind of work, you think about all the angles, even the logistics.
You want to create the best possible conditions, naturally.
And Ra's answer is, well, it's pretty liberating, isn't it? They basically say location, in the grand scheme of creation, it's kind of meaningless.
It really shifts the perspective. If everything is fundamentally one, then physical distance is part of the illusion of separation in our density. It doesn't really limit consciousness.
Okay, so if it's not where you are,
Yeah.
what's the important part for maintaining contact?
Vibration. Ra emphasizes the vibratory level of the working space. It's the energetic quality, the atmosphere you create.
Right, the energetic what, not the geographical where.
Precisely. And Ra offers two ways to achieve that. Either find a place that already has the right resonance, or consciously purify a space yourself.
Through things like meditation, yeah.
Meditation, or even as Ra mentions, simple things like cleaning or painting if a space feels, well, inappropriately marred, was the phrase, I think.
I love that. It shows how our physical actions, when done with intention, can really shift the energy, making the mundane sacred.
It all comes back to the inner state, doesn't it? Your intention, your focus, your own vibrational alignment. That's far more crucial than where you are on a map. It really empowers the seeker.
Definitely puts the power back in your own hands. Okay, so the next question moved on to something specific. The banishing ritual of the lesser pentagram.
Yes, asking if that ritual was a useful tool for preparing the working space. It shows the questioner was already familiar with some metaphysical practices.
Right, actively looking for tools to create that purified, energetic container.
And Ra's response, very direct.
This is correct. Simple as that.
Which suggests that these established rituals, done with sincerity and understanding, really can be effective. It validates that kind of practical metaphysics.
Then the questioner sort of circled back, just to be sure they understood correctly about preparing a new space, maybe one that wasn't used for spiritual work before.
Just making sure, yeah. Being thorough,
And Ra, again, just a simple, affirming yes.
it reinforces that idea with the right intention and preparation. Any space can become sacred ground for this kind of work. It's about our ability to transform the energy.
Okay, now the conversation takes a big turn, doesn't it? We shift from the practicalities of space clearing to, well, the origins of reality itself.
The huge leap. The focus turns to the sun, asking for a description of it as our sublogos.
And Ross starts by saying how hard it is to describe something like the sun using our limited language.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one thing.
Exactly. It's multifaceted. Ra talks about its relationship to intelligent infinity, to intelligent energy, to all the densities. It's a cosmic nexus point.
Let's try to unpack those relationships. First, with intelligent infinity. Ross says the sun is just part of it, like everything else.
Fundamentally, yes. An inseparable expression of the one. Not something created by it, but an expression of it.
Okay. Then there's this potentiated intelligent infinity and intelligent energy. Ra calls the sun an offspring of the logos here.
Right. It suggests a kind of hierarchy. The main logos sets the overall pattern, and then sub-logo, like our sun, use their free will to shape the details, the specific flavors of the densities within their system.
A dance between the grand design and individual creativity.
Okay.
And then the physical description.
That part aligns with our science. A big ball of gas, fusion, radiating heat and light, what we see and feel.
But then Ra goes deeper, metaphysically.
Yes, saying that from fourth density onwards, the understanding changes. Beings start to grasp the sun as a living co-entity, an other self.
Perceiving it as conscious, not just a thing, that's a big shift.
Huge. And by sixth density, it gets even more incredible. Ross says entities in time-space can actually interact with the sun, even partly co-create its manifestation in their reality.
Wow. Co-creating the sun, that's hard to wrap your head around.
It is. The big takeaway is the sun is vastly more than a physical object. It's this multi-dimensional, conscious entity woven into every level of creation.
So, building on that mind-bending idea, the next question asks how. How can sixth density beings actually create the sun's manifestation in their density?
Trying to understand the mechanics of that co-creation, yeah.
And Ra explains there are beings in sixth density whose reproduction is fusion.
That's the essence of it. Their own generative process, their way of being, actually contributes to the sun's beingness in that density. It's like resonance on a cosmic scale.
Their life process is part of the sun's manifestation there. Amazing.
And Ra adds that poetic touch that some of the light reaching us could be seen as offspring of the generative expression of sixth density love.
That reframes sunlight entirely, doesn't it? Connects it to love and creation at a really high level.
Beautiful, which leads right into the next point the questioner makes. Does this co-creation mean those sixth density beings are closer co-creators with the infinite creator?
It seems logical, right, if you're helping manifest a sun.
Ra confirms it. This is precisely correct, especially for those nearing the end of sixth density, looking toward the seventh, towards greater unity.
So evolution involves becoming more and more direct participants in the creative process itself.
That seemed to be the implication. A growing capacity for conscious co-creation as you ascend.
Okay, then the focus shifts again, back towards the beginning. First, density, energy centers. And the question starts with the sun itself. What density is the sun? Is it one or all of them?
Good question, bringing it back to the foundation.
Ra clarifies the sublogos. The sun encompasses the whole octave of densities, but it doesn't learn or progress through them like an individual entity does.
Think of it like the potential, the blueprint for all the experiences within this octave. It holds all the vibrations, but doesn't have an individual consciousness journeying through them. It's the stage, not the actor.
The container for all possibilities in the cycle. Got it. The next question dives into how first density actually forms. The questioner suggests a vortex, spinning light condensing.
Which shows some great intuition, drawing on previous ideas about vibration and creation.
And Ra confirms that model, the spiraling light, vibration condensing into matter.
But adds a critical point. The Logos already holds the entire plan for all densities before anything manifests in spacetime. The energy centers exist in potential from the very beginning.
So it's not random. There's an intelligent design, a blueprint already in place. The energy centers are part of that original design.
Exactly. Purpose and order underlying even the earliest stages of creation.
Following that, the question is about the simplest manifested being. What is it and how does it relate to energy centers? Maybe a single cell.
A logical step, looking for the most basic unit of manifestation.
But Ra gives a surprising answer. The simplest being is light, the photon.
Wow.
And its role with energy centers. It is the center, the foundation upon which all more complex energy fields are built.
So light isn't just energy, it's the fundamental building block, the origin point.
The bedrock of reality. Okay, then the inquiry moves to the first stirrings of self-mobile consciousness within first density. How does life start moving on its own? From fire, air, earth, water. And what energy center is active?
Exploring that leap from inert matter to the simplest life forms, showing independent movement.
Ra clarifies that the basic red ray density, while about growth, doesn't quite have the vibration for that spark of awareness.
The shift happens when the energy moves up to the orange ray.
Right. That orange ray vibration stimulates inert chemicals to combine, starting growth driven by love and light energies.
And the questioner brings up the polymorphous dinoflagellate as an example.
Yes, and Ra confirms it, mentioning the mechanism involves the attraction of upward spiraling light. And again, emphasizes it's not random.
So consciousness doesn't just pop up. It needs specific vibrational conditions and is naturally drawn toward growth and light. Purposeful unfolding.
The questioner then zooms in on a specific detail about that dinoflagellate, that it has an iron-based cell, not copper like some similar organisms.
A very specific biological observation.
And Ra's response is interesting. They basically say that detail, the specific chemistry, is not central.
Why not?
Because the chemical makeup depends on what's available on a given planet. The core principles of consciousness work regardless of the specific vehicle.
So the function of consciousness matters more than the exact materials it uses. The vehicle can vary.
Right, which connects to the next question, where the listener suggests maybe the iron base indicates a transition between plant and animal.
Trying to fit that detail into an evolutionary narrative.
Ross says, well, it's not incorrect to see it that way, but warns against drawing firm conclusions from such specifics.
Because life takes so many different forms across the universe, using different materials.
Exactly. Ra even gently critiques focusing too much on these material differences, calling it not fruitful material, because the sublogos can make these choices moment by moment.
The takeaway being, focus on the universal principles of consciousness, not the changeable physical forms.
Okay, so back to the energy centers. Does the polymorphous dinoflagellate have an active orange energy center?
Given the previous discussion about orange rays stimulating its emergence, that seems logical.
And Ra confirms this is correct. Even this simple life form has an active energy center.
Then the question compares the orange ray in the dinoflagellate to the human orange ray. Is the dinoflagellate just a smaller version? Exploring if the energy itself scales with complexity.
Ra says the true color, the core frequency, is exactly the same.
Ah, okay. So the energy is the same, but the difference is how it's used.
Precisely. The dinoflagellate's consciousness is primitive, so its use of orange is basic movement, survival.
And then Ra contrasts this with third density, where orange ray issues get complicated.
Very. Because of the interplay with higher centers, like the pull towards green ray, compassion, acting on yellow ray, self-awareness, can, if things aren't balanced, actually cause a reversion back to self-focus, clinging to orange.
That's complex. So imbalance can lead to regression.
Seems so. And Ra distinguishes this from negative entities who consciously work yellow ray for service to self. Then there are those who feel green ray but lack yellow balance, so they reject society and manifest mostly orange.
Wow, so the same energy center manifests very differently depending on the overall balance and development of the whole being.
Exactly. The true color is constant, but the expression varies hugely.
Okay, shifting up the scale. What's the simplest entity with both orange and yellow centers active? Yellow being self-awareness and interaction.
A key step up in complexity.
Ra identifies this level on Earth with beings, both animal and vegetable, that need bisexual reproduction or depend on others for survival and growth.
So yellow ray activation is tied to developing interaction, interdependence, relationships.
Makes sense. Then the next step, simplest entity with red, orange, yellow, and green activation, adding the heart center.
The capacity for compassion, empathy, other self-awareness.
Ra refers back to previous sessions for specifics, but gives a summary. In third density, all 7 centers can potentially be activated.
Even late second density beings can start activating green ray if they process experience well.
Right. But third density, with full self-awareness, holds the potential for at least minimal activation of everything. Higher densities then refine the upper centers.
So 3D is where the full spectrum potential really opens up.
Got it. Then a clarifying question. Do second density animals have all the energy centers, even if inactive?
Just checking if the potential blueprint is there early on.
And Ra says, this is precisely correct. The centers are present, even if not yet activated. The potential is inherent.
That speaks to that inherent drive towards growth in the logo's design.
The next question is, well, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Trying to connect light, animal bodies, active and inactive centers, and the logo's will. It sounds complex just describing it.
Trying to synthesize all the pieces, yeah.
And Ra kind of redirects the thinking here, gently steering away from seeing evolution as just a mechanism.
How so?
They emphasize that the logos provides the potentials, the framework, but it's the entity's own will that determines the speed and depth of activating and balancing their centers. Ah, so it comes back to free will. The design is there, but our choices drive our individual path within it. That's a powerful point about our own agency and evolution. We're active participants.
Definitely. Okay, then focusing on the centers themselves. What does it mean when Ra talks about the variable speed of rotation or activity?
Delving into the dynamics of how the centers actually function.
Ra explains it's a range of speed, which also relates to the brilliance or intensity of the color. The more you consciously focus, refine, purify a center, the faster or brighter it gets.
So increased activity reflects focused inner work.
Yes. But importantly, Ra says self-aware beings don't necessarily activate them in strict order. You could have brilliant lower centers, but be unbalanced higher up, like in the violet ray.
Right. Brilliance in one area doesn't mean overall balance.
Exactly. Ra stresses that real balance comes from honestly engaging with all experiences, using balancing practices, and having the right attitude for a purified violet ray manifestation, the connection to intelligent infinity.
And that's why just having bright lower centers isn't enough for harvest or moving to the next density, because imbalance means you couldn't handle the intensity.
Precisely. You need that holistic integration, that balanced expression of all centers, culminating in the violet ray.
Okay, a shift to fundamental concepts. The difference between space-time and time-space.
Yeah, trying to get a clearer handle on these core law of one terms.
Ra offers a neat analogy. Space-time is the visible, the physical world we know. Time-space is the invisible, the metaphysical energy, potential, consciousness before it manifests physically.
Physical versus metaphysical, or like
Yeah.
Larson's terms and Shrini's terms, Ra mentions, different dimensions of reality.
Space-time is our linear physical reality.
Yeah.
Time-space is the potential field it arises from.
Got it. Then, back to a practical application. Fasting. Following up on how it can remove unwanted thought forms. What's the mechanism?
Connecting physical practice to mental spiritual clearing.
Ross says it works when there's conscious awareness of the analogy, seeing the physical clearing as resonant with the intended mental spiritual clearing.
So the physical act becomes a symbol, an energetic signal.
Exactly. That intention filters through the tree of mind to the subconscious, creating a unified effort across body, mind, and spirit to purify.
It's not just not eating, it's the conscious intent behind it. You acknowledge the unwanted stuff, appreciate it as part of you, but will its refinement.
Yes, the will purifies and refines the whole complex, leading to the desired state. It's conscious alignment.
Which leads to the next question. Is this like how the higher self programs catalyst to release biases? Conscious reprogramming.
A great parallel.
Ra confirms the analogy and adds that someone with enough awareness can actually reprogram just through will and faith without needing physical disciplines like fasting. Wow. So the power of focused consciousness, belief, and intention is ultimately sufficient, a testament to the power of mind and spirit.
Okay, then a question about a specific book, Initiation, asking if Ra's familiar with it.
Checking for connections with other spiritual teachings.
And Ra says yes, confirming by scanning the questioner's mind, which is always a fascinating detail about the contact.
It really is. So let's follow up. How well do the teachings in that book, specifically on balancing, align with Ra's teachings?
Assessing its accuracy relative to the law of one.
Ra says the teachings on balancing are basically correct.
But distortions can creep in when comparing or collating different sources. Nuance matters.
Suggesting that while truth can be found elsewhere, the direct contact offers the purest form.
Makes sense. Okay, back to the energy centers. Why are red, yellow, and blue considered the primary ones? Seeking a deeper reason.
Feeling there might be more to it than just being the first few.
Ra starts humbly, saying they can't know what will seem profound to someone else, but they state the reason. They're primary because they represent primary activities of consciousness unfolding.
Like foundational stages.
Exactly. Red, foundation, basic being. Orange, moving towards yellow. Yellow, self-awareness, interaction. Green, moving towards blue through compassion. Blue, radiating your own truth, being a co-creator.
And they contrast green and blue. Green can be blocked by others. Blue radiates regardless.
Yes. And then the deepest connection. These primary steps mirror the Logos' own process of the creator coming to know itself. They're fundamental steps in that cosmic self-discovery.
That gives them a much deeper significance.
Wow. And Ra then asks for one final full question for the session.
And the questioner goes big, asking about the entire history of the Ra social memory complex, their origins, their journey, the catalyst for activating their rays, realizing it might be too much.
A very ambitious question indeed.
But Ra gives a concise yet incredibly rich answer. They describe a fortunate, harmonious progression on Venus' second, third, even an accelerated fourth density. Sounds quite smooth.
And then a long time in fifth density, specifically balancing the intense compassion they gained in fourth.
Right. That balance led to a harmonious graduation to sixth, with a strong social memory complex already formed in fourth. This allowed them to move quickly through sixth density work, join the Confederation, and approach seventh.
A very positive trajectory. But there's a twist. Yes, Ra mentions this harmonious past led to a kind of naivete when they tried working with Earth. Their own smooth journey didn't prepare them for the complexities here.
That's incredibly honest and insightful. Even highly evolved beings face learning curves.
A humbling reminder. Okay, and with time running low, the very last question is simply about the instrument's comfort.
A caring and considerate way to end, asking if anything could improve the contact or help the channel.
Ra's answer is simple, all is well. And then the beautiful closing remarks.
Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite creator. Edonai. Powerful words.
Truly, what an incredible session. Session 41. We've covered so much ground today, haven't we? From practical space clearing all the way to the sun being co-created by sixth density beings.
Absolutely. And tracing the emergence of consciousness, the energy centers. It really highlights the interconnectedness of everything in the Law of One framework. Seemingly separate topics just flow into each other.
Key things that stood out for me were definitely the multidimensional nature of the sun and how central our intention and inner vibration are, more so than physical location.
Yes, and the detailed look at the energy centers, how they activate, the importance of balance over just brilliance in one area, and how third density holds that potential for activating the full spectrum.
The idea that evolution isn't random but follows an intelligent design, yet our free will is the driving force of our personal journey within that design. That's
He
huge.
really is. This session gives us such a rich lens to view not just the cosmos, but our own lives, our own consciousness.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you, our listener, to ponder. Which of your own energy centers feels most active right now? Or perhaps feels like it needs more attention, more balance?
And thinking about Rose Point's unconscious, well, how might you apply that intention? Perhaps through focused thought, meditation, or even mindful physical practices like the fasting example, to support your own evolution and balancing.
Consider that dance between your inner state, your thoughts, feelings, intentions, and the experiences that show up in your life. It all reflects back, doesn't it? That profound interconnectedness Ra speaks of.
Indeed, the power of intention, the unity of all things.
Ding namaste. I am you and you are me.